Grade 6 was interesting class. The teacher, Mr. Basil Holland, uh, was the kindest man you could ever meet. I don't think there was an aggressive bone in his body. Well, I know there was, but he never was that. He was just a kind man. And he would teach whatever he was teaching, history. I can't remember anything actually, but the usual subjects, and he'd teach a bit about this and that, and then he would always drift into these stories. And he would put down the chalk, and he would sit on a stool, and he would tell us a tale. He did that every day. It really cut down on our learning time, but it didn't matter. It was really enjoyable to listen to him. He was just a storyteller, and his stories always came from the Second World War. That's how I know he had some aggression in him, because he was in the Second World War. He was that was tough. The Second World War is tough. And he went there and he did that, and he came back and he taught. But he always would drift into these long sagas, what life was like in the war, and for grade 6 students, what does that mean? You're 12 years old, I guess. That's fascinating. Yeah, he go on for a long time. The only thing that broke it up was there'd be a recess, and then we'd go to recess and come back, and he'd finally knocked himself out of that spell and tried to teach us something. But before lunch, he was back at it again, telling us another story. That he'd drift from math into. Oh, that reminds me of a time when, and he'd just start talking. We loved going to class. I love that class. Yeah. I thought that was all right, Great. I'm going to jump back to grade 4 for a second. Mr. Deegan, the teacher that they took away his job because he didn't have a teaching certificate. I studied hard. I really tried to do well. I remember that. And I remember getting a test result back in some subject. I don't know what it was. And I was sure I did well. I knew the stuff, I thought. And I was confident, and I expected good test results. And they weren't. And I was expecting an 82 or something, and I got like a 64. I was kind of devastated. How I don't get 64s, or whatever it was. I don't remember, but it was way down from what I would usually get. And that continued. That pattern continued. And that's part of the cycle of my school life. It wasn't from lack of trying. It was from lack of understanding, I guess. It surprised me. It really surprised me. I thought I was doing way better. And all of a sudden, I wasn't making the grade. Not as high. So I diverted to grade 4. Back to grade 6. It was part of that pattern. Downhill, 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 downhill. That I can see now. But Mr. Holland, it was an enjoyable year, and we spent it with a with a World War II veteran who you wouldn't think he was a World War II veteran, more British, more of a British fellow. Um, kind of reserved, and you would never thought he went to war, but at the same time, you could picture him in a helmet and have a gun and doing what he had to do. A low key guy. Grade 6 was okay. Yeah, I liked it. I liked grade 6.